I'm Danielle, your host of the Abridged to Motherhood podcast, the place where moms like you learn to thrive, not just survive through pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. I'm a birth and postpartum doula and a mom of two who's been where you are. My first pregnancy was filled with so much excitement, but it was also marked by stress, anxiety, and fear of the unknown. I thought I had everything mapped out, but when postpartum hit, I realized how unprepared I was for the physical, emotional, and mental toll of motherhood. It was overwhelming, lonely, and nothing like I imagined. When I found out I was pregnant again, I knew I needed to approach things differently. I made it my mission to not only prepare for postpartum, but to prioritize myself in the process. That shift changed everything. Now I'm here to help you do the same. Whether you're navigating your first pregnancy, feeling buried under endless advice, or struggling to figure out what you actually need for postpartum, this podcast is your safe space. You'll find practical tips, honest conversations, and expert insights to help you feel informed, supported, and empowered through every stage of motherhood. If you're ready to feel confident, prepared, and truly supported in your motherhood journey, stick around. This is for you. Hey friends, welcome back to the Abridged to Motherhood podcast. Today we are talking about 3 steps to nurture your goals as a new mom. If you are anything like me, you love to be productive. You love to set goals for yourself. Maybe you're an entrepreneur too. Maybe you just enjoy doing new things, learning new things. Maybe you are someone who just can't sit still and you have goals you want to accomplish, whether that's in your career, whether that's a dream of starting a podcast like I had, or writing a book, or running a marathon. Whatever your personal goals may be, let's talk about finding ways to nurture those goals within the joys and challenges of motherhood. It's so easy to feel like motherhood takes over all of our time and energy, leaving so little room for our own ambitions. But this doesn't have to be an either-or situation. You can nurture your goals while enjoying the ride of motherhood and while making time for motherhood. Through simple, actionable steps, I'll help you to align your role as a new mom with your goals to make space for both personal growth and motherhood. Listen, you're not alone in feeling like your personal goals are taking a backseat after your baby arrives. And I will be the first to tell you that the first year of motherhood for me, both times, I felt like I really just needed to devote all of my attention to motherhood. I even took a whole year off of work with each baby. Thankfully, I was able to do that. Many women are not, and I'm very grateful for that time. And it just really allowed me to get my bearings, to enjoy that time a little bit more rather than trying to do too many other things. So don't feel like you have to attack all of those goals immediately following the birth of your baby. Your first goal should be to enjoy time with your baby and get to know your baby and take that time to slow down if you can. I know that this isn't always the case. We all have different situations, but maybe that needs to be the goal that you write down to start your motherhood journey. So whether you want to dive right back in or you are someone like me that it takes a little bit more time to get back into the swing of things, that's okay. The pressure to be the perfect mom, the perfect wife, the perfect sister, the perfect friend, the perfect coworker can take a front seat, and then we end up neglecting our own dreams. And you might even struggle with feeling guilty or like there's no way that you can take that time out to focus on yourself. Your focus should just be on your family or just be on your job, whatever it may be. But I want to remind you that taking care of those needs and goals isn't selfish. But here's what I want to remind you. It's okay to have goals and to want to accomplish them. And we can carve out space for our goals without sacrificing our motherhood journeys. There are so many women all around the world that find ways to do this, creative ways to do this in pockets of time, in hiring out help sometimes, in trading babysitting with other moms, in meeting another mom at the park and taking turns watching the kids so one can get her workout in and then they switch. There are so many creative ways to do this. Let's dive right in. Step 1. First of all, you got to start with some clarity here. So what is it that you want? What is your goal? The first step to nurturing your goal is getting clear on what that goal is. We all know postpartum life is chaotic. There is mom brain. There is brain fog going on. We're tired. It's easy to lose sight of our personal aspirations. And you might even feel like, I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't even know what I want anymore. So first step is take some time to reflect on what you want to accomplish and why it matters to you. This is something that my therapist always brings me back to, is why. What's the why behind it? Write down why it's so important to you, because that is going to drive you to continue to work toward that goal. Whether it's getting back into your career, starting a new hobby, taking care of your health, pinpoint what you want to focus on right now and write down that goal front and center. If you are someone who is into goal setting, you've probably heard of SMART goals before. They're specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Put a time limit on this goal. If you just say, I want to start a podcast someday, hello me, and I never put a time limit on it, it took me 7 years to do it. But once I put that time limit on it, and I said I was going to release this first episode by January 1st, by golly, did it happen. So try to make that goal a SMART goal if you can. If you're too vague about your goals or thinking you need to go after everything at once, that's going to set you up for failure. So start by focusing on the one thing that you feel is really going to bring you the most joy and fulfillment in your motherhood. The time for joy is now, okay? So focus on that goal that is going to bring you joy or fulfillment in some way, shape, or form. Step number 2, set realistic and achievable milestones. We touched on this a little bit, but once you have that goal set and you have that clarity, break your goal down into smaller, achievable steps. So if we're going along with my starting a podcast episode, well, first I had to figure out what tech I was going to use. I had to do some research. I had to figure out what microphone I was going to use. I had to figure out how to then use that software. I had to come up with topics. I had to come up with show notes. I had to create a page on my website to host my podcast episodes. I had to find a host for the podcast, which in my case was Buzzsprout. There were all these small steps that I had to take to make my goal happen. And when you do this, you build momentum without overwhelming yourself because you're crossing those little steps off your list one by one. So keep things realistic, especially in those early postpartum days. Maybe crossing one thing off a week is all you can manage right now. Maybe one thing a day is more manageable for you wherever you are in your postpartum journey. If you're aiming to return to work after an extended maternity leave, maybe the first step is updating your resume. Maybe if your goal is carving out more time for self-care, then you are going to write down specifically what that looks like for you. I want to work out 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week, and then you're going to write down all the things that you need to do to make that happen, whether that is making sure the baby is down for a nap, whether that is figuring out a way to work out with the baby awake next to you. But figure out what you need to do to make that goal happen. If we set goals that are too big without breaking them down, or they're super unrealistic for your current situation, you're going to end up feeling so frustrated. So consider your limits and figure out what's going to work best for you, your family, and your specific situation. Step number 3, build some flexibility into your plan. We've talked about this before. Life with a new baby is unpredictable. As much as we want to predict things, as much as we want to get them on a schedule and a routine, babies are babies and they're going to do their own thing. So our goals have to be flexible and fluid. Sometimes we can't stick to that schedule so rigidly, but we can find ways to adjust when needed. Having some flexibility still allows you to stay consistent without feeling like you're failing when things don't go as planned. Let me give you an example here. If you had planned a 30-minute workout, but your baby is just super fussy that day, maybe you put the baby in the carrier and you walk around the block for 10 minutes, or you march in place, or maybe instead of doing a 30-minute workout that day, you do a 10-minute stretching session with your baby in front of you, making faces or laying on your belly to help that baby feel better. Or if you miss a day of pursuing your goal, simply pick it back up the next day without the guilt. I know, easier said than done, and I am guilty of this, but try to give yourself grace. Try to avoid creating a schedule that doesn't allow for flexibility. Life happens. And if our goals aren't flexible, you're going to risk feeling so discouraged when things don't go as planned. And sometimes we don't meet our goal, and that's okay. We can go back to the drawing board. We can set maybe a more realistic timeline for that goal. Maybe we can chunk that goal again into smaller goals, or even rethink that goal because it's not fitting in with our life at this moment in time. Quick review. Step 1. Clarify your goal. Spend time reflecting on that personal goal or aspiration and what it means to you and why it's important to you. Some people really enjoy visualizing that outcome, what it looks like, or creating, that a mood board or an inspiration board that they put up on their wall and look at each day, whatever that looks like to you. Number 2, break it down into manageable steps. Make it into smaller, manageable milestones. These should be achievable with your current lifestyle, wherever you are in your motherhood journey at that moment, and the resources that you have available to you. And number 3, allow flexibility in your plan. Build in room for adjustments. Life with a baby is unpredictable. Life with a toddler is unpredictable. Life with a 7-year-old is unpredictable. That doesn't change in motherhood. So being flexible is going to keep you from feeling discouraged when things don't go as planned. I hope this episode really inspired you and encouraged you today to set those personal goals and keep going after them and finding that joy and fulfillment in something outside of motherhood. Yes, motherhood is incredible and it's the best thing I have ever done in my life. I'm not going to pretend like it's not, but there are things that I enjoy pursuing outside of motherhood, and it's okay to take the time to work on those things and work toward those goals that you have in mind for yourself. And it's great for your kids to see you pursuing those goals as well. It's going to encourage them to pursue after their own goals. I hope you feel like this is more attainable for you now and gives you the permission you need to go after your goals. And if you need some help with that whole process of figuring out what you even want again, like we talked about in the beginning, you're thinking to yourself, I don't even know what I want anymore. I don't even know who I am anymore. I have that free resource available for you on my website and in the show notes called The New Mom Reset: Simple Steps to Feeling Like Yourself Again. And the first section of that resource has journal questions that I think are really going to help you get back to thinking about what you enjoy and who you are at the core of you that maybe you feel like is missing now in motherhood. So I would really encourage you to Click on the show notes or go to my website, abridgetomotherhood.com/newmom to download that for free. Thanks so much again for listening today, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Abridged to Motherhood podcast. I'm so glad you were here today. If you loved this episode, I'd be so grateful if you could leave a review for the podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. Share it with a friend or snap a screenshot and tag me on social media. If you decide to leave me a review, go to abridgetomotherhood.com/review. That link is also in the show notes so that I can send you a little gift in the mail. Your support helps other moms to find the podcast, and it truly means the world to me. Remember, your motherhood journey deserves your care and attention. Until next time, keep showing up for yourself, mama, and don't worry, I'm here to help every step of the way. See you soon.